All right, so we are picking up where we left off long, long ago. So I've actually copied the file down to today. So if you go to Learning Suite, there's a file called Census F17. That's short for Fall of 17. That's an example that we did pretty early in the semester. You might recognize it. So this is the one where we pick a county and it brings the data in for that county so that we can compare the various data right across from each other.
Which week was that from in the schedule?
Today.
Oh.
It's on today. We did it a while ago, but I've copied that same file to today's date to make it easier to find. Our goal today, in fact, if you're looking at this data and you're thinking, I really want to be able to compare across these. Here, why don't we do this? I'm going to go clear these off. And let's just pull some guys in here from Utah. Not that most of us know much more about Utah than any of these other counties. Let's bring in Davis County.
Where is Davis?
Davis is just north of Salt Lake.
That's where I'm from.
We'll bring in Salt Lake County.
Oh, I can't. It's below up there. So between Ogden and Salt Lake.
We'll bring in Utah County. The truth is, it doesn't matter what you bring in. And let's bring in somebody small like Carbon County.
Does anybody know where Carbon County is?
You know what? I don't know where Carbon County is. I'm sure someone here knows. It's somewhere in Utah.
It's also a Need for Speed.
What's that?
It's also a Need for Speed.
It's a need for. Oh, it's featured in a movie.
Video game.
Oh, video
A racing
game.
game.
Price.
Carbon County.
Oh, is Price in Carbon County?
The city of Price is in there.
Oh, very good. Okay, so if I'm really trying to compare line 6 here, the resident total population estimates. Well, that's not so bad. It's one above that. What do I really want to be able to look at this?
Quick question. You said this is the one that's on.
Today's date, November 1st,
Okay, I
Wednesday.
downloaded. I got something different.
Oh, you might need to refresh because I had, when I set up the semester, the file from last semester was there. But it's even if it's, is it the same kind of data but just like has an extra
It's
button
the
on
same
it?
one, but it doesn't have this on the side. I have got like from your. I've got 4 counties, but I don't have any of the information on them.
You just need to go with that.
Oh, did you get it now?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. All right. So if I really want to look at these, I want to look at these with a chart. I want to say, you know what? Highlight this. I'm going to look at line 5, and then also highlight the data on row number 5, and then also the labels. And then I want to build a chart. I just want to use a bar chart to look at this. So I will insert a chart. Just do the very first one, 2-dimensional clustered column chart. Now I can get a look at that. Oh yeah, I get it. Carbon County has a little bit. Salt Lake's got a lot of it, whatever it is. Utah's got a little bit more, and Dave's a little bit less. I would like to also have this chart title actually be whatever label I have here on row number 5. But I don't want to have to go through the process of building that chart every time. I just want to be able to say, just give it the chart. And so that's what we're going to do today. So, working with charts, at first, you're thinking, hey, listen, I've recorded macros now, and I can probably handle charts. Charts are different. And it takes just a little bit, there's a couple of weird things about them, and once you understand that one weird thing in particular, you'll go, okay, this isn't too bad. So let's start off by recording ourselves making one of these charts. So macro recorder, macro name. I guess macro wouldn't be good. Let's call it make chart.
You delete the chart.
I deleted that chart, but you can leave it up there. We're going to make it up. Well, let's put a shortcut key on it. Control C, that's for chart. That would be good. Wait a minute, that sounds familiar. Better put a capital C in. Control Shift C. Build a chart. All right, so once we get recording, what we really want to, it doesn't really matter which line we do, but we want to highlight just the data, and then also highlight the labels. To highlight a discontiguous range, highlight the first one, release your mouse, press the control key, and then go highlight the second one while you're holding control down. You'll be able to highlight the data just like we have it here. All right, insert, chart. Do that very first chart. And stop recording. Actually, let's go ahead and position it so we get the recording of the positioning. And we'll see what that code looks like. And then stop recording. Is everybody with me? Do you have a TA here today? Without a TA? Trouble is, what I need, well, we've got to run off like immediately after class today before the video will be done encoding. So I need someone with access to Learning Suite to put the link on for today's video. All right, so let me do my Project Explorer. Module 2 is where it would have put that code, so here's Make Chart. All right, so you can see that it's selected, it has a selected in this discontiguous range. And activating, we don't actually have to activate that range, but that was just part of the byproduct of the selection. And then here we have Add Chart. Actually, the method that we're calling is Add Chart 2. It is a method of the shapes collection, which seems a little bit odd, which is a collection on the sheet. So every sheet has a collection of shapes. What do you think are shapes? What shapes might there be? Yeah, so actually just like a shape, like a text box would be a shape that you put on there. A line that you draw on or an arrow that you put on, those are shapes. Buttons are shapes. In fact, this combo box is a shape. And so we have a collection of all the shapes that are on a sheet, and that is the object that we're calling the Add Chart 2 method of. Now, did anyone's code record with Add Chart rather than Add Chart 2? Version of Excel? Okay, yeah, so that's going to be, we'll have to do a little bit to bring you along with us, but you should be able to translate what we're doing pretty well. Okay, so here's what we're going to need to do. We need to figure out, what I'd like to do, when I press Control-C, I would like this to just build a chart for whatever data has the active row. And so let's start off by getting the, and we really do want to select these ranges. We want these ranges to be selected when we go about building. So let's go ahead and start to modify this. So the problem right here is that, of course, this is hard-coded for exactly that range that we selected. So let's go ahead and think about how we might do that differently. Why don't we go ahead and declare a range variable. I'll just call it RNG as a range. And we're going to want to establish that particular range. So doing a discontiguous, there are several ways that we can do a discontiguous range. I'm going to show you one that we probably haven't looked at yet. Or if we did, we looked at it very briefly. So it's always possible to formulate a string that identifies that particular range. Does this strike you as an easy thing or a difficult thing to do? Like to look at the active cell and figure out how to write those characters to refer to exactly that range? This is not especially easy. Especially once if you are ever dealing past column Z. Because like mapping, saying, okay, I've got a column number, unfortunately, I don't know of any way to ask a cell what's the column letter that you're in. I can ask for the column number, but I can't get to the column letter. And so getting to column A through Z isn't too bad, but getting to column AA is going to be a lot more work. And so it turns out we're probably only working in single character columns, and so we'd be okay. But let me show you this more general way. Might also help if we had a variable to keep track of what row the active cell is on. So let's dim row as a long integer. Let's establish row as the active cell's row. Let's also find out a column as an integer. So we need to know the row the data are on. We need to know the column that the data stop. The data always starts in B. But we need to figure out which column it stops in. And once we have that, I think we've got everything we need to know to figure this out, because rows 1 and 2 are always going to be where our labels are. And then this row, column always starts in B and is going to go to however we have set. Okay, so the row the data is on is going to be where the active cell is. How are we going to figure out the column? The column is where the data ends. It's which column the data ends in. What method's going to help us with this? End, yeah. So and we'll just do this right on the very first row. So we'll say col equals cells, row number 1, column number, and where should we go? We can either start here and do end to the right, or we could start way out here and do end to the left. Generally, starting at the very end and coming to the left, I think is kind of a nicer skill to have, and so let's reinforce that one. So we're going to start in column number, which column? Columns.count. However many there are. We'll just take them all. And that'll put us row 1, furthest column away. And then we'll do end, XL to left, and that will refer to a cell. And what we want is the column of that cell. We have a problem here? Yeah, that's bringing back a 5, what I expected to bring back. All right, so now we've got to set the range equal to that discontinuous range. So we're going to do it in 2 steps.
Explain that XL to left thing.
Yeah, so this end XL to left. So first of all, we got to realize what cell am I talking about here? What cell does this refer to?
The farthest go to the left.
Yeah, so that's going to be this one way over here. However many columns there are. Now, what I want to do is give the end method the right parameter, because end can work in 4 ways. It can go down, up, left, or right. And I got to tell it do end left to go over till it bumps into data to the left. And so that's what this is. This is actually a constant. It's a built-in constant. It really is just a value. So if I print XL to left, it's negative 4159. If I put here in my code, negative 4159 behaves exactly the same, because it's just a number. So why do we use the name instead of the number? It's easier to remember. And so when we look at it, we go, oh, end to left, I get it. Let's see what it's doing. Does that get it for you?
Yeah.
Will
All right.
that number change if you added more columns?
Yeah, the question is, will that number change if we add more columns? If we put more columns in our data? Right, absolutely, because at the point when this runs, it kind of goes through that same process. It doesn't select the sheet, but it says, think about this cell and where would we be if we had end left. And so if there was data in column F, it would have stopped on F.
Okay.
If there was no data in column E, it would bump over till it hit data.
So that's another reason we should use the name instead of that.
Oh, no, this number behaves the same thing. Because,
Okay, so the number means XL to left.
that's right.
Okay.
Actually, XL to left means this number. So it's just a predefined constant. Just a name for a location in memory, and when Excel loads up, it loads up all these locations in memory with these different values so that we have them to use by their names. Okay, so now, given these 2 pieces of information, let's start to build the range that we have to select. And that range is going to be from B1 to E2. That's going to be kind of the first part. We know we're going to have that. Now, we have a 5 instead of an E. We can convert it to an E to work with, but we'll just work with it as a 5. It's not too tough to do. So we're going to set RNG equal to range. Now, there's several versions of the range method. I am going to use the one that takes 2 arguments. The first one says upper left-hand corner. You know, what cell is there? So I'm going to... What's that?
It's always B1.
It's always B1. That's right. And so I'm just going to put a reference to range B1 here. It is, I think range can take a string that evaluates to a cell, but I'm going to give it the range itself. Now, the second one, I'm going to give it cells. Since I've got a column number to work with, cells will be a little bit easier. So row number 2, column number, call. So this will refer to a multi-cell range that starts in B1 and ends in E2 or wherever the data stops. So I'm partway there. So I've got this part selected. Now I've got to add this part onto it. So let me start off just by building the range statement that will give me that segment. So that's going to be range. Cells, it's always going to be, let's see, row number, row, column number 2 is where it starts. And it's going to end in cells, row number row, column number call. Now, this is just a reference to a range, and so I haven't done anything with it yet. But I got that reference to the range spelled out. Are we comfortable with the code that we have so far? If not, it'd be a good idea to ask for the clarification. Yes?
So is it always going to graph the data that's on the row that your cursor is sitting on then?
Yes. The question is it going to just graph the data from from the row that has the active cell? Yeah, and that's exactly what we want to do.
Okay.
The way that we're building this, we're saying, okay, user, the way you tell me which data you want to graph when you hit Control-Shift-C is select the row that has the data you want to graph. Hit Control-Shift-C, and it'll build a chart for that.
Okay.
That's what we're after. So might be a statement. I think it's got to be some part of Excel, not part of VBA. It's got to be part of Excel. Anyway, it's just called a union. So if I use the union statement, it must be application.union. Yeah. So it's a method of the Excel application. You don't need to say application. It'll figure it out if you don't say application. So union, and now I give it 2 ranges. And it returns to me the range that is the union of those 2 ranges. And so I have a range called RNG. I have another range that I've specified on the next cell down. And I'm now going to union that. I'm just going to set RNG equal to the union. Set RNG. I've already said it once. That's okay. We're going to reset it. Well, I'll probably need one more parenthesis. Question?
And the set, why do we do that one again?
Okay, so remember that when we just have a normal assignment statement to a normal regular variable, we just say that thing equals. There's a word that actually belongs there, it's now optional, let. And we don't have to put it there anymore, but that's valid syntax. But when we're just setting a regular old variable, we can just say let that variable equal its value. The trouble with this is that if I just said RNG equals without the set here, it would look at this and go, that's a range. I think you can specify the property for that, and so it's going to assume that it means the default property. And it's going to try to get the value property of this range and set it into the range object. So anytime I'm binding an object variable onto an object, connecting up a variable, it's just a reference to an object, the way I connect that object variable to the object, I have to use the keyword set. It's It's a little bit weird to do that. And in fact, in the current versions of Visual Basic, they said forget it. They've gotten rid of the notion of a default property. They said it was more trouble than it was work. Figure out the property you want to use and use it every single time. So like in VisualBasic.net, you don't have to say set an object variable equal to something because there's no default property. It's a result of the folks in Washington, in Redmond, Washington, saying, we want to make this easier for beginners. You don't have to specify a property, but now that we're in the more advanced stuff, you guys have to say set. They were making thousands and thousands of decisions when they were making this language. Most of them they did it pretty good. This one, I think and they agree. They did it wrong. They should have done it different. So we have to live with it. So we are changing. So here we've got some object variable. It just holds an address to some range that's sitting somewhere in memory. And we're now going to point that variable at a different range. This is the range that it's going to be. It's going to be the union of what we set it to be right here and the range that actually has the data in it. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a breakpoint right here in my code. Stop. And I'll run this code. So at this point, I run to the keyword stop. You can see that I've got I'm in break mode because I have the yellow current statement indicator here, but I should now be able to ask what RNG's address is. And we can see that it's a discontiguous range, so I've got a comma here in the middle. Starts in B1, goes to E2, and it also includes B5 to E5. So I've got the range of data that I want to work with. Feel pretty good about it. Questions here?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, but I just got to where everything that is left to the comma, but not to the right to the comma. So B1 to E2, that's all I got when I asked for.
Do you have this?
Yes.
So that means that this line hasn't worked. Do you have this line here?
Yeah, I'll just figure it out. Yeah, I wrote it down.
Okay. So at this point, we refer to that range. Now, in building the chart, we know that we need to have that range selected. And so I'm just going to say rng.select. And so now that will select that particular range. So these lines here was kind of a lot of work to get to replacing these lines, but we've now replaced those lines. We can just go ahead and comment these out or delete them. I'll comment them out so you can see that they used to be there. That's what was recorded. But now we're moving on. Stop my code.
Do we need to activate?
So the question is, do we need to activate a particular cell? And the answer is no. One of those cells is going to be activated. And the truth is, it does not matter which cell is activated when we build this chart. It would not hurt us to leave range B1 activate on there. Okay, so now here's the statement that's actually building the chart. So let's take a look. So add chart 201. Any thoughts on what 201 might be? It's probably something to do with the kind of chart that we're building. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what it is. And then it's also telling us here it's going to be a clustered column chart. All right, now you'll notice that we have a .select after this. This seems a little strange. What's going on here? How do we say add chart.select? What does that mean?
The range selected. Select the chart.
Yeah, so what that means is that the add chart to method, that it returns it creates the chart, or it creates the shape, it creates both a shape and a chart, and then it passes back a reference to the object that it just created. And so, although this is a method, it returns a reference to an object, and so we can call the select method of the object that it returns. That's more than I want to do right now. And so I don't want to select it. Now, tell me why, oh why, is this line red right now? Yes?
You have a defined property of the chart.
Haven't defined
Or
it.
you haven't given it a value, I guess.
No. This line, this add chart method should be able to just stand like as a statement by itself. It should just be able to say add the chart to a one clustered column. It's going to look and see which one's selected. Or we're going to do that in the next line, but it's going to actually build it. It'll probably just be a blank chart at this point, and then we'll add the other data later. Statement should be okay. There's kind of fundamental syntax, and it's one of the quirky things about VBA. Anyone else see why it's red? Remember that when I pass arguments to a method or a function, that there's a difference between when I put the parentheses on and when I don't put the parentheses. When do I put parentheses? When I want to mumble, apparently. Yes. The parentheses have to be there if I'm treating it like a function. This is going to return a value. It's going to return a reference to the object it just created. The parentheses have to be there if I'm going to do something with that reference. Now, when it recorded the code, was it doing something with the reference? Yeah. It was saying, we want to select that object. And so that's why the parentheses are there. If I want to do this without selecting the object or anything, then I've got to get rid of those parentheses. And now the code will be a valid line of code. It turns out I want to leave the parentheses there because I'm going to do something with it, just to do something different. Put those parentheses back in. So, truth is, I think this is going to return a reference to a shape. And this is the thing that's quirky. This says add chart, and you would think that it's going to return a reference to a chart, but it doesn't. It returns a reference to a shape. Whenever I put a chart onto a worksheet, there really is a chart object that I manipulate, but it is always embedded in a shape. And so when I say add chart to, it's going to create a shape object, and it's going to create a chart object, but it's going to return a reference to only one of those. I'm pretty sure it's a shape. Let's just find out what it is. So let me just come back up to declare a variable. Dim SHP as a shape. And now I'm going to set SHP equal to this. If this returns a shape, this line of code will work just fine. If it returns a chart, it's going to break. But I'm almost certain it's going to return a shape. I'm going to bring my stop statement down below the one that we just did, and I'll run my code to that. So now we've created a chart, and we've created a shape, and we have now bound the shape SHP variable onto that, so we can manipulate the shape using that variable. I'm going to come back to my Excel and see what we have built out here. So there it is. We just created. I'm going to just try to, just to make sure that's the one that we've just created. I'm just going to come to my immediate window. Now I'm in break mode. I have a reference to this shape. I'm just going to try to manipulate it. So right now we'll notice it's the left of that chart shape is somewhere around column B. I'm just going to say shp.left equals 10. Yeah, and that's moved it over. So that is the shape that we're dealing with. So interesting that it has actually built the chart with the correct data, even though I haven't specified the data. How did it do that? We have another line coming down here that says set the source data to this particular location. Looks like that when we add the chart, if we don't specify the data, or until we specify the data, what data is it going to use? Whatever is selected. So I think we can bypass this next line. We turn this off. We'll bypass this next line altogether. Oh, I love this line. This line was too long, so what did the macro recorder do? We can't quite fit this line onto one line. So we're going to add two characters so we don't put the one character up there. Bring that character up. So it looks like we don't need this one. And now here we have ActiveSheet.Shapes chart 2, increment left. What's going on here? What do you suppose this one's doing? Yeah, this is changing the position. It's changing the top and it's changing the left. So and you'll see that this won't work, of course, the next time we run it, because it's referring to that shape by its name, chart 2. And so if I run this code again, it's going to move chart 2, if there is chart 2, otherwise it's going to have an error. Well, that's why we wanted to collect a reference to that shape so that we can now set the left of that shape. So we'll do it right here. shp.left equals, we got to figure out where we want to put it. Where should we put this chart? Where should we put the left of this chart? To the right of the data. Yeah, so we don't know where to put it because we don't know how much data there's going to be when this runs. But we know the column where the data end. And so we're going to do this. Cells, row number 1, column number call plus 1 dot left. We want to put it to the right of that column. Unfortunately, a cell doesn't have a right property. It has a left property. If I want to refer to that cell and get to the right, I'd have to do the left plus the width. Or I could just go one cell over further and refer to the right or to the left. And I probably want a little bit of space in there, so let's give ourselves a margin, plus margin. And we'll go define a constant of margin, and we'll make it, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10. Const margin equals 5. So I've declared a constant, given it a value of 5, and I'm going to put this to the left of that, of the last data, plus a little bit. So we'll use that margin in multiple places, then if we decide, oh, you know what, we want to have a little more space around these charts, then we'll just change the margin once, and it'll change everywhere we use that margin. So I don't need these.
Do we need to set where it is vertically?
We do need to set where it is vertically. That's a little more involved. Let's get this. Let's check this part out, because now it should be pretty impressive. At least it will do something. Let me come here and delete my charts. And come choose a row, Control-Shift-C. I got to get rid of that stop, not so impressive. And it puts that chart right over there, a little bit past where the data are. So far, so good. All right. Before we start adding more charts onto this and positioning these, let's talk through how do we want to position this chart. Where should this chart go? Where should the first one have gone?
The very top.
Yeah, so probably, let's just push it right up here. And that way, we've got some room to put the next one right below it. And the next one go below it. But I think before we get to that point, I'd like to have a procedure that will let me clear these charts off. So it'd be nice if I can have something that says, you know what, just get rid of all these charts. I'm going to build the ones that I want to look at again. So let's take a pause on building our chart, and let's come over here and make one called clear charts. So sub clear charts. We are going to need to look across all of the charts that we have on the worksheet and then delete them. Delete them all. There's a couple ways that we can go about this. One is we can look across all of the shapes and then see which of those shapes have charts and delete those. The second way is there's another, backspace over this, there's another collection. ActiveSheet dot chart shapes. I thought there was something called chart shapes. Maybe chart objects. There we go. So ActiveSheet.chart objects. So I'm going to now ask it what type of object this particular one of these is. So I've got one of these chart objects on my sheet. If I create another chart, it'd be 2 chart objects. I can always ask the data type of a particular variable by asking the type name. Type name of chart objects sub 1. Type name. Didn't help a lot. Chart object. You see it has a left property. It does have left properties. That's actually a reference to the shape that's holding the chart. That's good. Because that means we can delete it. So we should be able to say ActiveSheet chart object sub1 dot delete. Execute that line and it should get rid of that chart. So we just want to loop across all of those charts, those chart objects, and delete them. That's what we want to do. So let me dim x as an integer.
If you get rid of the 1, does it delete all of them?
If I get rid of the 1, oh, you know what? I might be able to delete the chart objects. I'm not sure I can delete the chart objects or not. Let's do this as a loop because most collections don't have something that just deletes all of them. Although it runs my mind that chart objects may. Let's just do it this way. So I want to do a loop that's going to look across all my chart objects and delete them one at a time. Sometimes when you delete objects, in fact, if we delete them, yeah, let's look at the problem. Let's see the problem, and then we'll correct it. So I'm going to create a few charts here. Control-Shift-C. Should have quite a few charts now. Probably have 6 or 7 of them. Oh, I have 9. So let's say for x equals 1, 2, ActiveSheet.ChartObjects.count. X equals ActiveSheet.ChartObjects.x.delete. I'm going to run this, and I expect it to give me a problem. Let's see what it does. Application defined error. Let me see how many chart objects I have now. Okay, so instead of 9, I now have 4. So I deleted 5. I deleted 5 of them. It worked 5 times, and then it failed. What's going on? What is X right now?
5 and your other thing, so it's your count.
Question mark X. Right now, there's X is 6. And my count is 4. When I started this, what was my count? 9. I said, oh great, delete number 1. What's my count now? 8. Now I say delete number 2. I delete that one. I'm down to 7. Delete number 3. I'm down to 6. Delete number 4. I'm down to 5. Delete number 5. I'm down to 4. Delete number 6. There's no 6. What do I have to do?
Make it 0.
Make it 0.
Make that line that's highlighted, can't you just put a 0 instead of X, and then it'll just erase the first one?
There's a couple of approaches. One is not a 0, but a 1. It turns out this is a 1-based collection.
Oh, that's what
So I could say, this says, listen, I got to do this 9 times. So I could just delete the first one 9 times. And that's probably the simplest way. The other way is, I could go from my count down to 1, step -1, count backwards. Delete the 9th one, then delete the 8th, then delete the 7th. I actually kind of like this way better. I'll stop this, run it again, and that should just run and delete them all. So we've got those charts deleted. Now that gives us some sense of how we can take a look at all the chart objects that we have on a particular sheet. Because we have to behave differently when we're creating that chart, if we've got chart objects already, than if we have no chart objects. I think what I'm going to do is going to consolidate all of this code above, so all the code that we actually have live and working still is together. You don't really need to integrate it this way. I've just pushed all the lines that we're saving together and leaving the old ones down below. So here's the trick. If there are no charts already on the sheet, we know exactly what to do. If there are charts, we've got to figure out what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and create a variable called top, and we're going to set our top variable based on looking at the charts that are here already. So let's dim top as a single precision floating point number, because when we position things on the screen, it's not just integers. You need decimal portions. And now let's do this. Let's say if active sheet, so my active sheet dot chart shapes dot count. If that equals 0, we do one thing. Otherwise, we do something else. In this case, I'm just going to say the top equals the margin. I don't want it to be all the way up top. Give myself a little bit of space away from that top border. So if there are no charts on this, we know exactly where to go. Go to the top, come down a little bit for the margin. If there are charts, which one do I want? Let's say there's already a chart there. Where do I want to put it? Right below the last one. So if there's more than one, then top is going to equal. This is going to be kind of an ugly line, but it's going to be. Look at the collection of the chart shapes. Which one do I want? The count of the collection of the chart shapes. And I want the top of that plus the height of it. There's no bottom property. So I'm going to copy. I'm going to go ahead and break that onto two different lines. Underscore. So the top is going to be, look at the most recent chart. Give me the top. Add that to the width of the most recent chart. And what else? And the margin.
Would it be height?
Oh yeah, that would be really funny. This would give us a valid location. It just won't be a very interesting one. Thank you. Height. That should do it, folks.
Do you need to start the top?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Now we need to use that top to actually set it. So I'm going to calculate that top, and I'm going to set the left and the top here at the same time. So I just moved where I'm setting the left down below. So putting the shape. Oh, I have a problem here.
Should it be chart objects instead of chart shapes?
Well, that's one problem. Thank you. I'm going to do a global change because chart shapes is not what it's called. Control H will bring up the find and replace. And I'll replace all in this mode. Am I ever going to have a shape count of 0 with this code? No, because I create the shape right here. I create the chart here, and then I ask, is there 0? So I could say if there's only 1, then it's the one that we just did. Or what I like better is calculate the top before I create the shape. So now I'll know where that top's going to be, create the shape or create the chart, and then position. Now I think it'll work. Let me come back to my code. Press Control-Shift-C. That puts one. Select another row. Control-Shift-C. That makes another one. Puts it in a nice place. Okay. What else is just kind of screaming to be done here? Yeah, it's just a chart title. We have no idea what that's talking about. And so, putting the chart title on, a little more difficult than it might seem. So, after we've put the chart here, let's go ahead and put the title on. All right. So, we have captured the shape that's holding the chart with SHP. SHP, so a shape has a chart property. If that shape is holding a chart, it has a property called chart that's a reference to the chart that it's holding. So shape.chart, let's see if we can figure out what the title is. Look for a title, there's no title. Any idea what it is? Well, it's like a half hour to find this property the first time I went looking for it. It's called chart title. Chart title. In case it might have some other kind of title on it, we want to make sure this is the chart title of the chart. You might get to hear and think, I could probably just assign this to some text. No, I can't. Because it's an object. I'm going to hit the dot again, and I go, oh, look, there's properties. Well, let's see. There's characters. No text. There's text. There's a name would be the name of the object. It's an object. Objects have names. So it's not name. You either get at it through the characters or through the text. Let's hit the text. Hit the dot again. Nothing pops up, so I feel pretty good. I think that's the text that I'm actually after. So what am I going to put as the text of the chart title of the chart?
The value of the rows list.
Cells, row number row, column number one, dot value. Row number row, column dot value. Go ahead and clear off my other charts by running my clear charts method. Control-Shift-C. Now I've got a reasonable title up there. Choose another one, Control-Shift-C, and that brings them up. In terms of usability, what's kind of the next thing that I want to do? Oh, maybe a button to clear the charts, or some way to clear the charts. Okay, I'll go with that. Let's go ahead and put a button on to clear the charts. Developer tab, come to the toolbox here, and insert. Very first tool will be a fine little button. I'll select that. I don't really have a whole lot of space to put it in here. So clear charts will be the one that I run. I'll just label it clear charts. So now I should be able to click on that and it'll clear the charts. I like it. Control-Shift-C, and now I can make charts to my heart's content and clear them off. Anything else in terms of usability?
How about a make chart button?
Make chart button. I don't have room for buttons. Plus, we've got a hotkey for that already. Make charts would be a good idea. Actually, we could because we got way more room than we need for this. I'm going to hold the control, make this a little smaller. I've got room for make charts now and clear charts. I'm going to leave it just as clear charts, but if you want to put a button on there, we've got plenty of room for it. Now, the user selects a particular cell, and then as part of the creating the charts, we select something else. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to reselect that cell that they selected, or maybe even select the next one down. So that I can just press Control-C, and I can lay out a whole group of charts as they go. So after I'm done building the chart, putting the title on, in fact, we've got it right here. Instead of, this column one is right, we want to select it, and row +1. So that will just get me ready just to build the next chart. So now I should be able to come back to my worksheet, press Control-Shift-C, and build a whole set of charts. Good thing I have a way to delete them automatically. Questions? Yes.
Is there any reason why when the chart goes in, it's like really low?
So if your chart's coming in low, when you put the first one in?
Yeah, it goes down to like cell 24.
Interesting. Let's take a look. Thank you. All right, so now, the next task is going to be to figure out for this not to just go down one column, but to say go down 5, and then if we get there, move up to the top, and then come down again. So let's do that right here if there's, let's just do it afterwards. I'm not quite sure exactly where this should be integrated, but let's just do it right here. So let's say if the count of the charts mod 5 equals 0. Then we want to do something. In this case, we want to push, that's another reason why we want to push the top up to the margin. But now we also have to shift the left. So we better declare ourselves a variable called left, left as a single. What's our left going to be? It's actually going to be really similar to how we adjusted the top. It's just going to be the left of the most recently added chart moved over. So that's going to equal the left of the most recently added chart plus the width of the most recently added chart. So we've figured out the left. Here's our old left measurement. So now at this point we only have a left if per mod 5 equals 0. And that's going to be, so what else do we need to calculate to the left? So we've got to figure out what else. This information is still important. We still need this. We definitely need that if we're just getting started. But where else do we need it?
Set it down.
It looks like, yeah, I mean, that's where we have to set it down here. We've got to say we've created a left variable, so now we're assigning it here. So I think we have to do this. If left is less than 5, then maybe it's less than 6. I'm not entirely sure. Let's do less than 5 to see what happens. Then left equals our old calculation. So now we're calculating the top. If we don't have any, we're just hard coding the top to be the margin. We might not need that because this may work as well. Let's see how this works. I'm going to just test it and see where we are. So I'm going to clear off my charts. I'm going to zoom out even more. Control-Shift-C. You see what that error was again? Application defined error. Oh, if it is 0, so if it's different than 0, let's see. If mod 5 equals 0, Oh, right. So it actually is 0. So this whole thing just needs to be inside this other if statement, because it's already checking here if it's 0. Stand by, folks. Don't make these changes until I get it working. Probably make this a little bit cleaner, but let's see if that works. Now, hopefully the next one will pop up to the side. It's pretty good. So let's figure out why this one came back with a left of right there where it was. Oh, it's because that left we're calculating here. Yeah, so I think rather than putting that in here, put it back where it was. Top should be okay here. I think we have to do the count right here again. If the count the problem is that when we tried to refer to this, when we tried to read it, okay, I think what we need is this. It may take 15 minutes after all, and the count is greater than 0. So if mod 5 is 0 and there's at least one shape there, is that right? Don't copy that code yet. Control Shift C.
Because you're only increasing the left by the width if mod 5 is 0.
Yes.
It's not.
Can we set?
It goes back to 1 after the 6th item. It no longer is going to increase the left by the width.
Okay, you are absolutely right. Thank you. So we're going to get that right when it is mod 5.
Maybe instead of global variable to be increased.
Now we definitely don't want to try to keep that global variable in place. So it's
You move left
Set it out there.
and have the left accessible outside.
that's what we need to do. We either need to make the left to be, you either got to shift it over, or it has to be wherever the last one was. It has to be the same left as the last chart. Put a chart, wherever we place a chart, it should be the same left as the last one, unless we've done this. Okay. So let's just, before this, let's just set our left that way. Left equals the left of the last chart. Again, don't copy this code until I get it figured out. Clear those charts. Control Shift C. Okay, that's only where there is a last chart. So if there's more than 0. Is that right yet? If there is 0, then the left has to be.
You already have
We
that.
set the
Here it is.
Where is it?
If left is left. Oh, wait, no.
I think we just want that up here. So now, if we've got no charts there, we set the top and we set the left. Otherwise, the top is below where it was, and the left is the same left as the other one. Unless we're mod 5, and then we shift back up. That's what we do.
Mirroring left, left equal left.
Thank you. So this one's failing because it's trying to do the left when we've got 0. This is ugly to do it this way, but it's kind of tough to think when you guys are all looking. If the count is greater than 0. There we go. All right. Now feel free to copy that code or wait till I post it, and then you can download it. So that's probably do a little bit better here on the logic of this code to figure out where to put the top and the left. But the whole exercise here is to see what it takes to be able to manipulate charts. The key to realize is that when you create a chart, it goes into a shape. You want to position that chart, you're dealing with the shape. If you want to do something with the chart itself, such as where we put the title on, you've got to go from the shape to the chart. So the shape has a chart property that is a reference to the chart, a whole set of properties about the chart, not the shape. Where it is, the size it is all the shape. What style the chart is, what data it's using, that's all the chart. Any question?
Just pull back up.
Class dismissed.